This is for the people who think or thought that they already dealt with it, they've already went to therapy, they've done years of work, then it sort of comes back, maybe even worse. When I say old patterns, I don't mean like large events or traumatic sort of instances. I mean our negative behaviors or reactions or instincts or sort of triggers. Usually it's because you haven't really faced the root of it yet. A lot of the times when it comes to history, it repeats itself until its lesson is learned. When it comes to life, things will come back unless you've, especially negative things, will come back unless you've learned the lesson. And I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I've done a lot of work to fix things in myself. Self improvement. I've been on that vein. Stoicism, whatever you want to call it, I've probably tried it once. And I've been there where it seemingly never worked. It felt like being a rat stuck in a cage where the bait was self improvement, constant self improvement. Which, self improvement, sort of that whole space in social media, sort of helped me, definitely. It's helped me a lot, actually. But it did also cause a lot of repression when I should have just faced those things. For me, it sort of stemmed from a lot of pride and obstinacy. I tend to be a person who over intellectualizes things to think that, oh wait, I could have done this, I should have done this, I would have done this, maybe like if it was different this way, thinking that I could control a lot of the things that weren't in my control at all. And this stems from a lot of pride. But I'm learning. I've learned to feel my feelings. I've learned that a lot of the things in life aren't actually in my control. And a lot of the times you should just let God take the reins, basically. I also sort of learned to, sit, be in the present, not be obsessed with the future or super worried about the past, which seems like opposites, but that's what we tend to do. I read something somewhere that basically posited that the present is the most akin to eternity. And I think that's true. I believe that because my thinking is that the past is done. You can't do anything about it. Literally, like, there's no action that you can take to change the past. The future doesn't exist yet. Literally, it's just a could have, would have, maybe, or maybe should be, but it doesn't exist at all. Like, literally. And it's what we have most control over. The present, that exists. It's what we are in. And when we live in eternity, regardless of what eternity you believe in, I think we'll be in a constant state of the present. I also think this is why evil forces have been sort of pushing us towards worrying about the future or the past and out of the present. Regardless if you think that's the devil or some other malicious force, I think that's why a lot of people nowadays have been pushed to worrying about the past or the future. It's because the present is supposed to be our taste of eternity. People like me who are working through their past, who are working through problems and issues, tend to be averse to staying in the present. Just sitting still. Or at least, feel uneasy in the present. Why? I'm not entirely sure because I'm sure it's different for different people. Maybe it's because we feel unsafe in the present. Maybe it's because some traumatic thing happened when we were sitting in the present and we don't want to feel the possibility of that thing happening again. Or maybe it's because the present brings things up that we don't want to be brought up, feelings or thoughts that we don't want to face yet. It's like they're saying, hey, we're still here waiting to be processed. Which brings me to the 5 things that I do, or that I like to try to do, to help myself. Number one, know thy triggers. The first thing to do when old patterns pop up again is to know yourself. Know why it happened. What triggered you? Why did it come up again? Even now, I'm learning new triggers that are sort of related to the past ones, but are essentially pretty new. And it's frustrating sometimes not to know why you're triggered. It sort of just sometimes happens to happen. Sometimes it just pops up, which leads me to when I'm already triggered. Number two, I like to feel my feelings. Actually, I don't like to feel my feelings. I want I know that I should. A lot of us, in our pursuit to know ourselves, to get past through issues, tend to over intellectualize, which is a tendency when you're trying to know your triggers. So, it's a sort of half and half here. Double edged blade for sure. But if there's one thing you take away from this post, it's that you should feel your feelings most, if not all of the time. When you're triggered, leave the thinking for later. Take note of the event, leave the thinking for later, just feel the feelings, let it pass. Which leads me to number three, don't be too hard on yourself. Like, you've been through a lot of shit, assuming that you're like me. And if you tend to be the person to have a lot of harsh thoughts or self talk, try thinking of a friend going through similar things. Would you say those same things to a friend? If you said yes to that, yeah, go out the door because you just won the award for worst friend in the world. So yeah, shoot. If no, then why are you treating yourself so negatively? This isn't to say that there's no space or time for tough love. What I'm saying is that it has to be delivered with kindness and with grace to it. I improved in this area actually because I thought I would never tell someone the things that I tell myself. Number four, just keep swimming. Remember Dory? Yeah, that. This goes with what I said about being in the present. Constantly wallowing in self pity and despair. And I understand why you're there, possibly. But it isn't really going to help. Unless you don't want to help yourself, that's a different story. Look to the present. And if you can't, here's a little exercise that I sort of tried by myself and I forgot where I got this. I'm looking at two yellow butterflies that are sort of dancing. They're three. Okay. Talk about being in the present. Imagine yourself sitting in your own body, but 80 years later, looking back at now, saying, "Hey, I'm good now. That was a heck of a time, but it passed." Lastly, number five. I've talked about giving grace to yourself. Give grace and be patient with others. We constantly encounter people with bad behavior. I'm sure you have that one person in your life where whenever you think of them, you roll your eyes, or whenever they come into the room, their energy just drains out. Know that they're probably going through shit too. And I'm not saying you should excuse their bad behavior or tolerate their bad behavior, and this isn't saying that you should be their emotional punching bag. But have some empathy in knowing that sometimes, without realizing it, you might be behaving like them too, especially when you're triggered. And if we gave each other some grace and some patience, maybe your immediate family, your community, your city, your country, maybe the world wouldn't be such a mess. But that's it for me today. If you think this could help somebody in your life, please do share it with them. You never know how it can impact them. But regardless, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. A lot of cars passing now. Of all times. Yesterday, at the same time, it wasn't like this. Well, whatever I found, it just happens to be so. It felt like being a rat stuck. Duh. There's a random crow that's hunting me again.